is Steph.
Hi.
This is Jamie.
Bliss.
Bliss. Maxi. What's up?
All right,
So first of all, I really have to make a confession. I saw you guys at Pink Pop. I was one of the people in the audience, and I went out of my mind. It was so fucking good.
Pleasure, I hope.
It was unbelievable. I was stoned. You know? It was pretty cool. And I wonder, do you guys really work at the fact that you can make dance music and still perform live? You guys really want to cross over to a live public?
Certainly, yeah. Being the live band is, for every one day we spend in the studio, we spend 50 days being a live band. It's for us, it's much more, the usual thing.
Yeah.
And they are two very strong bows for us that we love. It's the studio work and the live work. Yeah.
Did it change the way you make songs?
I don't think to an enormous extent it changed the way we worked in the studio, but I think we're excited by sounds and moving things on, and you learn things when you're touring, you learn things about live instruments that you can apply when you're in the studio. But it's still really important to make a record that bears up after repeated listening.
Yeah.
Whereas a live performance is there, you have it for an hour and then it's gone.
And then it's gone.
And that's very exciting for us.
So how does a Faithless song, does it have like a pattern? The way it's, you guys conceive it? Is it always done in a studio or at home?
Yeah.
Or is it sometimes as a live band, you guys jamming along?
We have done some jamming. We've changed tunes that are on the album, so we have live versions that are like a remix,
that's when
which
I
is very
saw live.
exciting to us, which we'll definitely be using in future music. But usually it starts in the studio and kind of radiates outwards.
Yeah.
But we also love having a bit of a groove together, and hopefully we'll be doing more of that, won't we?
Yeah.
How did you react to like the enormous response and for example Pink Pop? But I can imagine it's everywhere at the moment.
It's very it's very emotional, and it's also quite humbling. People often ask if you get a sense of power.
Yeah.
When you've got that many people sort of waving their arms because you are, and it's actually not. You very rarely get a feeling of power. It's just a very strong connection that's hard to really put into words. This feeling that you and all of these people are connected in some very deep way, and that feeling precludes any feeling of power. You feel so grateful and joyful and sort of humble at the same time. It's a very powerful feeling. Sometimes you have to be careful you don't let your emotions spill out too much.
Or you'd be crying all the time, Faithless in tears.
I don't think so.
Oh, really?
Really?
You have no idea.
Oh, God. When you're tired and exhausted, and then the crowd are giving so much,
right.
it's properly moving.
We had one particular show, in fact it was Lowlands, again in Holland, and we had woken up in Germany, flown to England, done a TV show, then flown to Holland, a 2 hour and a half bus trip to the gig, and then about an hour and a half before we went on stage, and we had nothing left in the bank at all, And we went on stage thinking, okay, we'll just see how far we can get with this. And the crowd, as we walked on the stage, hadn't even played a note of music, just bellowed and gave us so much love that all your tiredness disappeared. Suddenly you had the strength of 10 men, and we played one of the best shows that we've ever played. Yeah. So for us, it's like you get so much from these people. They give you so much that it's really not hard at all to just give it all back. And as much as you have, you give.
Very much like the audiences are very much like the fuel. If the gig is a car, then the audience is the petrol. Yeah. And they can choose to inject a whole lot of fuel into the engine, or not. And when the audience when we meet the audience halfway, it goes mad.
What was like the most spiritual or craziest or experience?
Spiritually, I know what that one comes to mind immediately. That was a festival, very old and established festival in England called WOMAD.
Yeah.
And we had been playing the festivals for months, for quite some weeks, in all sorts of countries all over Europe where necessarily English isn't the first language. But this particular festival is more of a sort of a spiritual and family type festival. So a lot of the lyrics at WOMAD really hit home. There's one a cappella rhyme that I do where it's just Bliss, he's playing like a pad on the keyboard, and I deliver the rhyme without any music. And at WOMAD, this particular rhyme, you heard everybody's. There was like a lot of. There's always a buzz or a little bubble in the audience. Completely fell away to silence within about 3 lines, and you could hear people going, and I felt as though people were drinking me. It was the weirdest feeling I've ever had.
Yeah.
I felt like I was being consumed by lots of people. It's very, very odd. I can't explain it different from that.
Kind of like group sex, but better.
And a water bread. Oh, sorry. The thing with Faithless for me is, I think you guys are one of the only bands, I mean, not the only, but one of the only bands that incorporates dance music, live, being really good live, and lyrically, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it's not just shake your ass and blah blah and Teletubby and blah blah. And is it really important for you to have a message out?
It's important to be lyrically profound, and that's Maxi's real,
But
position in the band is it's his lyrics.
Yeah.
And that's Faithless is a vehicle for that, really.
So how does it start out? Does it start out with one of his lyrics, or does it start out with the music?
Both. Sometimes Maxi will come in,
yeah.
he's already written a rhyme. Sometimes I'll just play some chords on the keyboard, and we do a backing track, me and Rollo in the studio or whatever. Or sometimes Jamie will come in with a chorus. So it works all different ways, really.
So it's like every time
very organic, yeah.
Absolutely. But what tends to happen is that obviously, I mean, I say obviously, but it doesn't always happen that music and lyrics go together, insofar as Blissy and Rollo will give me a backing track, and I will then write the lyrics. And then generally, once I've put the lyrics down on the track, Blissy and Rollo will then change all the music around the lyric to convey, also amplify whatever emotion I'm trying to get across in the lyric. They'll make the music amplify that, and so it's the two have to fit side by side. Although it's a lyric led in most cases, with the possible exception of the dance tracks, which are less lyric led, obviously, because there's less room for them.
They're still completely important. They're pivotal because they're the singles
Absolutely.
at the moment. We only made 2 albums, though. I mean, it's all a learning process. So
I think so too.
It's all a constant process of refining what we already know how to do. That's what I think Sunday 8 p.m. is a lot about. Is about making Maxi's words really be reflected with properly good music. So that's why it took a bit longer for us to do.
Yeah, well, could you tell me something about the God as a DJ lyric? I mean, the meaning about...
the lyric is alluding to the fact that for a lot of people, myself included when I was very young, the first idea that you get that there is a deeper and more profound meaning to your life because you're suddenly connected in some very deep and profound way to a set of total strangers, like we were talking about before with some of our gigs, and you can see that connection and you feel it with absolute total strangers. And sometimes the very first inkling that you get that there is a deeper and more profound meaning to your life and to life itself is in a concert hall or in a nightclub, sometimes at a football match. When you're in concert, in harmony with a lot of other people, with a shared goal, a shared value. We've all come to listen to Bob Marley tonight or whatever it is. Then you get that connection. And it's really important. I mean, when I first felt that, it was at a Bob Marley gig, and I was 17 years old, and I've never forgotten, and it actually changed my life. Because
where was that?
It's in the Lyceum in London. He actually recorded a live album in London in 1974 on the Friday night, and me and my brother were there on the Thursday night before. But that incident made me realise that my life was actually different from how I thought it was, and everything that I've sort of become, if you like, philosophically, stems from that moment. So there's a line in that song that goes, "This is my church. This is where I heal my hurts." That, in fact, that place, the Lyceum in London at Bob Marley show, is where I learned about, if you like, the grace of God. I learned it there. So that's what that tune is all about. A lot of people would dearly love to trivialise dance music and everything that goes with it, but actually it's a very, very profound thing. If 500 or more, or 50 or more people can get together and have an absolutely beautiful time and relate to one another, that to me is like a microcosm of what anybody else would call world peace. If you've got 5,000 strangers having a great time with each other, that's what that is. So taking that vibe and taking that out into the street with you and into the office, and on the buses with you, that vibe that you experienced that night at that Bob Marley gig or at that, Paul Oakenfold show, whatever it was, what I mean? That's very important, I think.
Do you have an experience like that?
Many
something
experiences,
like,
actually.
What would be like
Many.
the first musical
Many
experience that
musical
got you into-
experience? I was busking. I used to play in a quartet with some people.
What
And
kind
I remember
of-
I was playing on a street corner. No, this was classical
Guitar?
music. No, this was the violin. Years ago.
Wow.
And we'd never played together before. We were just friends, but we hadn't really played together. And just suddenly, we were playing and playing. It was a baking hot afternoon, and we were playing in bare feet. And suddenly, this crowd just gathered, and suddenly we all just locked in together. And I really felt we were making music, even though we didn't know each other very well. I just felt there was something transcended it, you know, just something that you can't put your finger on. I don't call, you know, the human spirit. I don't know what. Or Maxi calls it the grace of God. But anyway, something where lots of people enjoy music, but it's very profound. People were really, it brightened up their day. You know, what a great job to have, to go around brightening up people's days
I think you
with a
guys
bit
are
of
doing
music
it.
and but something that's profound. You know, we all have shitty times and feel miserable and crap, as does every other human being.
true.
But I think, you know, Faithless's role is, you know, that people find there's some empathy there. We don't go around making really jolly music, but I think there's an empathy in there, lyrically and musically, that touches people, and it's a real privilege to be able to do that, really.
Something completely different. What would be the weirdest place you ever heard a Faithless track?
Oh my God, in the middle of a fucking market in Thailand, where there was no one there, just booming out of under a palm tree. And my friend heard it in a Moroccan souk.
Hey.
Timbuktu. It was in the middle of Africa.
Timbuktu.
Says, you're never going to believe this. I have heard Insomnia in Timbuktu.
In Timbuktu.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think my brother heard Don't Leave being played before the aeroplane took off on something like Moscow Air.
Don't leave.
Yeah.
The engine's not working.
It wasn't working either, was it? Let's face it. It was Aeroflot.
What would be
Scary.
What would it
Scary
be for
flop.
you, Mac?
Huh?
The weirdest place you ever heard Faithless being played?
I don't hear
Radio
Faithless
1.
being played that much, I must tell you, because I'm not much of a media person. I watch the TV much, and the radio is banned from my house.
Maybe an elevator or something?
Yeah, generally, no, the first time it was weird for me was the year that it really started to hit. We were busy all that summer and all that autumn, and we didn't really stop until December, much as every year. And I went out sort of between the 16th and the 22nd of December to do a bit of Christmas shopping. And that's when it was like weird for me, because all of a sudden I'm in the West End of London, and every single shop I went into, if I was in there more than 5 minutes, Insomnia would be playing. Within 5 minutes or 10 minutes of me going into the shop, it
How
was
do you feel
everywhere.
then?
I'd see like cab drivers, 60 years old and more, just in their cabs, waiting for the lights to change. It was just everywhere. I thought, what is going on? Very weird.
You feel
Makes you go
embarrassed when you hear
cold. It makes you
Yeah.
go cold. You,
Not embarrassed, but
We-
you start to wonder. You think,
Startled.
hold on a minute, because
Startled, yeah.
you know my experience of this tune is sitting in my house like I always do, writing a lyric, and then going to the studio like I always do and putting it on a song, and going home again. And that's what I've done for the last 10 years, and nothing happens. You know, I mean, I get paid enough to live and stuff, and I just carry on. But to hear something that you've done in your room, suddenly all over everywhere, it's hard to take in. For me personally, it was like, what is this all about?
So how long have you guys been touring now? I think a long time now, because
well, 2.5 years,
2.5
3
years.
years on and off. But it's not totally constant, but it's been very busy.
So you've been on the road a lot.
Yeah.
What do you what do you do to keep it interesting? I mean,
Talk
are there
about sex a lot
Uh-huh.
and have good philosophical discussions late into the night, you see.
Yeah. The thing is,
Really?
Really?
Yeah, we do bunk swapping.
Bunk swap.
We have
also
15
one
bunks
bed.
on the tour bus
15.
for the crew and the
Yeah.
band. We all travel in one bus,
Uh-huh.
and we have competitions to see how many people can you fit in one bus clothed, how many people can you fit in one bunk naked,
Yeah.
how many just legs with all naked bodies hanging out.
Sounds
sounds pretty disgusting.
the dirty stuff with Faithless.
Well, no, in fact, also to a large degree, as a band, you know, I don't think that we've done as much as we haven't fulfilled the full potential of Faithless yet, which is why it's still interesting for us. It's a bit like having a very fast car that you've only driven at 90 miles an hour, but you know it can do 250. Do you see what I mean? There's a long way to go yet, you know what I mean? So
I can imagine if you're flying from one town to another town, and I mean, at some point you go like, Whoa.
Well, it's like any job. You've got highs and lows.
Yeah.
You've got bits about this job that are absolutely brilliant and that I wouldn't swap for any other job in the world. And then there's bits about this job that I really would be happy if I never had to go through again. Do you see what I mean? You've got to take the rough with the smooth.
Is there anybody you guys want to work with? Do like another artist with whom you would like to collaborate or something? Or not do
loads, isn't
remixes,
there?
but I think like
Millions.
Loads,
but
man.
like one person you've been trying to get a hold of.
No, they usually sort of come to us. The sort of
good.
people kind of end up in our lives by various different courses. For example, we met Boy George at a gig, and I sort of know him from going in and out of clubs and from the DJ circuit. And he came to a gig we did in New York and was just going crazy at the front. He came on the tour bus and made everybody laugh for hours. And when we got back to England, it just sort of occurred to us. We had a backing track, and we thought, oh, who should we get to sing on this one? And we rang George up, and he said, oh, I'd love to, you know. So
That's cool.
it's these kind of things happen. So, I mean, we have got a couple of people in mind. Looks like we'll be doing a collaboration with Sinead O'Connor, but we're not holding our breath. We're just whoever comes along, really, you know.
He's been busy, Boy George. I mean, I interviewed the guy, Jacques Lecomte from Rythme Digital. He was in New York doing his video. He just walks on the street, Boy George. He's like, hey, you want to star in our video? He just stars in the video, and now he's doing a track for his new album, too. It's like Boy George is on the streets everywhere.
I'd like to
watch out.
I'd like to work with a hip-hop producer called Pete Rock and this rapper called Mos Def. I'd like to do a record with those two. And I also hear that there's this guy I met in America who lives in New York as a DJ, and he says that some French hip-hoppers have done a tune that samples Insomnia, and they used a bit that goes, they slowed it right down. I only smoke weed when I need to, and I need to, and I need to. And he says this.
We'll have to get the publishers on the phone.
I haven't got a clue. He says
French rappers.
Yeah, French. He says it's a French thing.
Well, that was interesting,
check
because
it
we
out.
might be doing a collaboration with some French rappers. We think MC Solar's wicked, but we're just quite interested. I mean, whoever comes along, whoever we meet on our travels, really, whoever vibes with the band. Jamie's working with Brian Eno at the moment, so
No.
yeah.
Really? Wow.
That was
wow.
Yeah, that was wow for me, very
I
much.
think for anybody, no?
That's
Brian
why he's
Eno.
quite quiet today. He's still overwhelmed.
That's what he's been doing.
Well, we haven't actually done anything yet. We're going to do something. We just hung out so far and talked about what we're going to do. That's all.
Seems like a very, very intelligent guy. I read some...
He's awesome. Awesome. And one of his albums is like one of my favourite albums of all time, My Life in the Bush of Ghosts, is one of the top, I mean, just
What's the track
incredible.
with that? Doom, 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 doom,
Yeah, amazing.
doom.
Stunning.
And I love Heroes and all that old stuff, David Ghost.
Even the first Talking Heads, I mean, once in a lifetime. the
Exactly,
sound
and
of
Remain
the
in
song
Light.
Amazing, genius.
goes all the way there.
I
Yeah.
think that
Eno's
Brian
a man.
Eno's crowning glory for me will always be Virginia Plain.
Even the way he looked.
Never heard anything like it in my life from then till
Yeah,
now.
really.
You know.
He's been, Wow.
We
and so
sat
that's-
down when I arrived, and I thought I had some very obscure music to play him. But he came up with the all-time most obscure piece of music to play me, which was the sound of icebergs cracking, slowed down. That's what we listened to most of the afternoon. Yeah, I promise. It's
Did he tape it himself? Was it just something he
no,
got?
it's some album he picked up somewhere.
Album full.
It was
Oh my God.
fantastic.
Icebergs.
Cracking, slowed
Cracking.
down. It was deep.
Wow.
Yeah. No, it was a real. For me, it was like
Fucking hell.
we've got a program. Yeah, we've got a program in England called Jim Will Fix It.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know the first
Jim
one?
Savile?
People write in and they go,
Yeah.
"Please, can I have a day with
Faithless.
status quo?" And then Jim will fix it for them to go and For
Meet
me,
up
that
with
was
their
my
pop
Jim will fix
stars.
it. Meeting
Wow.
Brian Eno.
Get the medal.
Yeah, I should have.
He got to sit in the big chair with
I
the big
stole.
cigar.
I stole one of his ashtrays.
See,
So I could have a
exclusive.
souvenir.
Wow.
Sorry, Brian.
So you be doing anything with Faithless and Brian Eno, or is it just something?
Who knows? I don't. It's very, very vague at the moment. We just.
Yeah. That would be like an interesting thing.
It'd be
It's
It's
amazing.
very interesting. Well, you've started the ball rolling here.
Hey.
This is the travelling wobbly think tank.
One last question. The future. I mean, you said it. There's a long way to go, but for yourself, what would be like the goal you want to achieve with Faithless? Like the
We're not going to stop until Maxi is president of every country in the world. When that happens, we'll feel that we're some way close to our goal.
Maxi for president. What do you have to say on the matter, sir?
Hey, let me tell you, when I'm running things, there are going to be some changes.
Cowboy boots will be illegal.
Yeah.
Clean up the ghetto.
Yeah, there'll be no cursing or slandering allowed, that's for damn sure. And all speed bumps will be removed from roads forthwith.
You know
without this way. Plus, mosquitoes will be banned. All mosquitoes have to hand themselves in at police stations for destruction. I'm telling you.
Come quietly. None of that high-pitched squealing.
Yeah.
For you?
Oh,
Anything
this is what? Oh, the future.
The future.
If she grew a penis, she'd be very happy.
Oh, yeah.
Such a
We'll cut it out.
Thank you. Future. Oh, you know, the usual sort of things, world domination, you know, multi-platinum things. No, just because I think Faithless's music deserves to be heard by as many people as possible, and I think we've got some really serious and relevant things to say, and we just so want people to get with our vibe, really. And especially to let people know that there's a lot more to Faithless than just the house tunes that they've already heard. You know, there's albums worth of material out there that people will enjoy.
That's it. Voilà. Faithless.
Voilà, ça c'est tout. Au revoir.
Merci beaucoup.
This is the Music Factory.